Hey, I'm Tristan Barr and I am a producer with Continuance Pictures, and I'm also a writer myself, and this is a YouTube tutorial on how to write a 1-hour pilot. So now that we've done that awesome credit sequence, I'd like to talk about the 1-hour pilot and how to write for TV and what you should involve in a pilot, because I've been getting all these questions about what sort of format do I use, how many characters do I bring into the pilot, should it be in a filmic structure, all these sorts of questions that come across my desk, and I was umming and ahhing myself, like, yes, I don't know. And really the short answer is that it's all up for grabs. You can do whatever you like, but there is a specific format that is really emerging in HBO and Netflix, and that's what I want to talk about. So hopefully this gives some insight to you and isn't me just rambling for 20 minutes, as I can do. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, I think in order to write a successful series, you've got to start with a few things. And the first idea is that you've got to have a concept that is going to sustain you for multiple seasons. I think rarely networks are doing, standalone miniseries. And why would they invest so much money in something like that if it's not going to give them a recurring benefit? So the first thing I'm telling people is, does it go for season 2, season 3? How is it going to sustain itself that long? And I think the first thing to bringing sustainable TV is good characters. So what is a good character as your main protagonist? And I think it's one or two things. It's either someone who is exceptional, someone who is just like a freaking genius, or someone who is like an army soldier or a superhero that has skills beyond anyone else. But that's a bit boring. And that's typically what we're seeing in films these days. And basically the reason we're seeing that is that we can jump straight to the chase. You can get straight into the action sequences.
I make 7 hostiles.
I make 5.
And that's what's bringing people to cinemas, is these big blockbuster movies. So I think where TV's strength is in that you're able to go on a journey with normal, everyday characters. And this is the transition from normal to exceptional that I think most TV, or really good TV, does really well. So for instance, Breaking Bad, Walter White is an everyday sort of dude. He's a science teacher.
Chemistry is, well, technically, chemistry is the study of matter.
And then suddenly, he gets dragged into making meth, and then, not just any meth, but the best meth.
Ah, tight, yeah! Blue, yellow, pink. Whatever, man, just keep bringing me that.
And having a drug empire to himself. Also Ozark, which I have recently become addicted to. I think that's another great example of a normal character becoming exceptional. What's his name? So bland, it's so boring. It's not Walter, I know the partner is Wendy, which is boring as well, and then it's Wendy and Marty. Wendy and Marty from Ozark, like that's vanilla. that is normal. That is as normal as you can get. And it's about this normal accountant that then becomes thrust into laundering money for a cartel.
Hang on a second. More shoreline than the whole coast of California.
Excuse me.
This place right here has more shoreline than the whole coast of California. And apparently, every summer, hang on, listen to me. Every summer, the population of this place explodes.
That normal to exceptional circumstance. And I think that is a really good place to start with. And that's a hook. That's a way you can hook in the audience. Start with that. Start with normal versus exceptional.
But I prefer to see it as the study of change. Now, just think about this.
Then think about what your character's main skill is. So Jason Bateman, he is a great accountant and he's good at getting himself out of tricky situations, whether it be financially, but also in a business sense. So he's a good businessman.
Tons of tourists, Midwesterners from all over the place, blue collar, white collar, loaded with cash. Okay? So I got this brochure.
I gotta go.
Hang on one second. Got this brochure last week, scouting businesses, and I brought it back to talk to Bruce about it. And I was going to talk to you about it because I want to put the house on the market, and I want to move down there with the family, and I want to do what we do down there.
And that's his skill. So what is your character's skill? Think about how their skill intertwines with their past sins. And that's something that we will relate to with the character, is if they have past sins, if they've done things that haven't made them, good people. And we've all got that in our lives. And we actually empathize with people who sin. Like, the last thing we want to do is follow a perfect character, for multiple seasons. So think about their past sins. So in Ozark, his past sins is that he was never there for his family. Although he's a good businessman, he's always missing out on things, and he doesn't have the connection that a good father would have.
22 years, never cheated, not once. And I had the chance more than a few times, and I never, ever took it. Instead, I worked. Came home, went to bed, got up, did it all over again. Not good enough, huh?
So now we've got this kind of broader theme about family life, and how our lead character is awesome in one way, but a shit bloke in another way. And so we get this theme that's emerging out of this one character, which is like, how do we have a good family life in modern day? And this is where our lead character's external and internal goals come in conflict. So another thing that I always like to kind of preach is that you want to have an external and internal goal that is conflicting. So in his case, you've got a cartel, and there couldn't be higher stakes in having a cartel that you're dealing with. It's very urgent, and it's very life or death in the external stakes. And he's dealing with that in every episode. But his internal goal is conflicting. His internal goal is that he actually wants to be a good dad and a good husband. But how can he be a good husband when basically he's coming up against life or death every episode? And that is drama at its best. Then you want to give your character more hurdles to overcome. And this is really important, again, to sustaining lots of episodes and seasons. And I think one essence is give them character flaws. For instance, in Marty's character, he gets in constant trouble with his family because he's quite unemotional and he's quite distant. And so he will go off and, like most businessmen, just do their own thing and not really consult and check in emotionally with his family. And so this kind of leads to the family going off and doing their own things and having their own lives, which then brings in conflict to the story. When you give your character flaws, you want to have one major fatal flaw. And this is really important. This fatal flaw is the thing that's going to keep coming back and biting your character in the ass, like big time. So when you build to a climax, that fatal flaw will inevitably come in. And so it's really good to kind of put those ideas down. So you've got these kind of great flaws and skills of the character, and you will start to have emerging how the other characters fit in with your kind of main protagonist. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, what is this journey? What is the hero's journey of this character? And it's really good to check out Aristotle's Elements of Drama, because that'll basically give you a foundation and also a structure in which you can take those elements and just put them in with your idea and really write every one of those ideas out, and that really helps, and you'll be able to know if you've got it or not. And they should really just be dot points. You shouldn't be having to kind of write an essay. He's got to have an ally, so someone who's there all the time, who will kind of help him through those tough times, particularly when he has moments where he's about to crack, where all is lost, which typically happens in every story. And also you want your villain, who's the evil guy that will always be offside. We need these kind of conflicting characters in our story. In The Notebook, where these two characters are madly in love, and don't get really upset that I'm using The Notebook as a reference. It's a beautiful film. I mean, it made me cry. You should have cried if you had a heart. So, you know, just get on board. It's a romance. You know, I know all these guys out here are going, oh, I'm not listening to this guy anymore because he's using Notebook as a reference. But how beautiful is it when it's raining and, you know, both characters have conflicting, you know, external stakes.
I waited for you for 7 years. Now it's too late.
I wrote you 365 letters. I wrote you every day for a year.
And of course, the setting is beautiful. They're on the lake, and it's raining, pissing down rain, and you know she's got a new partner, and they haven't seen each other for 7 years. But then their underlying love for each other, or their internal goals, is something that they want to have happened. And then they have this like beautiful kiss where he says something like, "It's not over for me."
You wrote me?
Yes. It wasn't over. It still isn't over.
I've relived that moment once or twice. One thing I should mention that I forgot to put in is that essentially you have to have a theme that you keep coming back to in every scene, in every episode, in every season. And essentially that theme is going to be the driving force for your whole series. So labeling the theme very clearly at the beginning of the process is essential. For Ozark, it's family life, you know? It's as simple as that. And so what's going to break this family up is the reoccurring engine. And so if you get your project to a stage where you're lucky enough to have a writer's room with experienced writers, that's what they're going to be chucking at your concept in every scene. They're going to go, do we need this? Does this relate to the theme? So you might as well address that now, here, after doing your character work. I feel like I'm ordering you to do stuff, but you don't have to be ordered by me. I'm really not doing anything like that grand. I'm just like reading stuff on the internet and then like synthesizing that, and hopefully it's good for you. It helps me. Hopefully, you know, there's some form of success that comes of all this. Blah, 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 blah. So now you're at the point where you're like, okay, I've got a pretty good theme. I know my characters. How the hell do I write this thing? Well, this is where you go into the structure, and you've basically got to plot out what happens. What typically happens is that it's in 5 acts. Not only 5 acts, it's a teaser and then 5 acts. And that kind of dates back to, I mean, now we're getting to kind of like writing theory. I think it was like Freytag or some like German dude who was all about kind of rising action, and then, you know, incident, which is your climax, and then the falling action. It was like a triangle. And I think they call it Freytag's pyramid or triangle or something like that. Sorry to my screenwriting teachers who drilled this into me. Basically, all you have to worry about is that you write a teaser to the episode, which is like a flash forward moment.
My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Or something that really encapsulates your character and incidents and theme and is exciting to watch. So when you switch on the TV to watch the episode, it's like, holy shit, I'm gonna keep watching to find out what happened to that character when they got murdered in the first 6 pages of the screenplay.
Jimmy,
What's up? What's up?
did I hit something?
What the fuck is that?
Is there
Is
flat?
that flat?
What? No.
What the fuck? You better pull over and see.
Yeah.
Still alive. No. Fucking piece of shit.
And you'll find that teasers actually link so many interesting ideas within the one moment. Going back to House of Cards, they always had really interesting teasers where Frank, I know Kevin Spacey's off the chain at the moment.
I mean, let's face it, we're all a little bit crazy, right? And for good reason.
But I'm using it, I thought it was really good writing. But Frank would do something and you would be like, holy shit, he's just made a sly move, or he's killed someone.
Jesus. Did you get a good look?
Blue Toyota Camry, it's all I saw.
It's the Hortons, dog. It's not gonna make it. Go see if they're home. It's okay. There are two kinds of pain. Sort of pain that makes you strong, or useless pain. Sort of pain that's only suffering. I have no patience for useless things. Moments like this require someone who will act. Will do the unpleasant thing, the necessary thing. There. No more pain. It was a hit and run. I'm awfully sorry.
Must have jumped over the fence again.
Look, Steve's gonna file a report on the car, and he'll put his people on it. We'll track them down.
It makes you want to watch on. Basically, from Act 1, you go back to the beginning of the story, and it's all about setting the scene. Setting the scene and kind of introducing your characters. And in the pilot's sake, it's their everyday life.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yeah. Morning, Truman.
Morning, Spencer. Hey, Pluto. Oh, no. Get down.
He won't hurt you.
Get down. Yeah, I know. It's just me.
Come on, Pluto.
I think you've got about 10 pages of that before you need some form of incident or something to occur to again switch you back into action. That the characters are then active. If you read Save the Cat, which is an awesome kind of breakdown on film structure, it's called the Inciting Incident. Once you have introduced all the characters, you introduced a conflict. And this inciting incident or conflict that usually happens around Act 2 should kick us into gear. It basically changes the character's life forever.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
What's this?
Can embody both swans, the white and the black.
Oh, God. Oh, let me out.
Don't be nervous.
Get away from that door.
I want to say something first.
Jesus Christ.
Benjamin, I want you to know that I'm available to you, and if you won't sleep with me this time...
Oh, my Christ.
Okay, so I realized that there's far more information than a 20 to 30 minute video. I was going to go into how you plot the 5-act structure plus teaser. Also the A, B, C, and D stories and where they occur. I'm now thinking it was very stupid that I thought I could get it all in 20-minute video. Like and subscribe so when the videos come up, hopefully it pops up for you. Otherwise, you'll probably forget about it and then go and research some other guru who knows what they're talking about, really. But thank you for tuning in. I'm Tristan Barr from Continuance Pictures, and stay classy.